Okay, we're recording again now. We just recorded like fucking 12 minutes of a podcast, and then for some reason it decided it was going to crap out, and we lost our recording. So that's gone forever, and now we have to start over. Sadly, I had told a whole story about going to a comic book store that was a piece of shit, and the owner was an asshole, and the comics were overpriced, and blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to go into the whole thing, but I was in a really pissed off mood today because I went to buy some comics because they were having a quote-unquote sale. I went there, and it was the worst sale I've ever seen in my life, and the owner was a dick, and they had a really shitty selection. They were selling, like, Wolverine number 83 for, like, $8, and giving you the crazy discount of 50% off, so it's $4 for a 1997 comic. It was just really irritating, and that was my fucking day today. And then we started talking for some reason about doomsday preppers, and you were saying what?
All the prepping in the world is pointless considering the shittiness of actual people. Like, if you prep your whole basement and you have weapons, the wait till you fall asleep and burn the shit down. So it's like,
yeah.
The best way to survive is to keep society moving.
Yeah, and okay, that's right. So you said that, and then I was like, have you ever seen 10 Cloverfield Lane? Because that's about that. John Goodman has this basement, not a basement, it's a fortress he's built, this bunker, and then this girl wakes up in his house, and she's like, how the fuck did I get here? Why are we in this fucking bunker? And the guy's like, look, it's too dangerous to go outside. There's radiation. If you go out there, you will die. We have to stay in this bunker that's, like, airtight. And it's the most amazing bunker you've ever seen. Like, it's got a fucking full kitchen set up. It's got a fucking entertainment library. And that's what we were talking about, how I always imagine in a post-apocalyptic world, like, these people trying to, like, rig up something with a generator and, like, an old VCR and, like, a crappy, like, turn-dial TV. And trying to watch, like, Die Hard or something that they've found in a pile of rubble. And Justin was saying that's useless to even think about. You're an idiot, because most people would probably just come and steal everything you had, and if you had a fucking bunker, they would just come and kill you and take all your shit. And I was saying that in that movie, there was no way anybody was getting in. It was fucking underground. It was airtight, sealed. There was no one breaking through the fucking adamantium door they had. It just wasn't happening. And then we started talking about that Viggo Mortensen movie where him and his son are, like, possibly the last people on Earth, and they're slowly dying. And it's about him and his son surviving. It's really fucking good. What is that goddamn movie called? That is called... Go ahead.
Like, I know Viggo Mortensen, I know the actor, and I can picture his face, but every time you say Viggo, I imagine the guy in the painting from Ghostbusters.
Yeah, I know. That's kind of funny because I do too. Like, when I say Viggo Mortensen, I picture him as that guy. Like, I picture a painting of Viggo Mortensen. Like, I always have when I've heard the name Viggo Mortensen. Okay, Viggo Mortensen. What do we call it? Post-apocalyptic movie. I just got to see what this is called. It was popular. I think it was based on a book. Viggo Mortensen, post-apocalypse movie. The Road. It's called The Road. The Road.
Okay.
And it is, here's what it says. America is a grim, gray shadow of itself after a catastrophe. A man... Viggo Mortensen from that painting and Ghostbusters 2, and his young son wander through this post-apocalyptic world trying to keep the dream of civilization alive. They journey toward the sea, surviving as best they can on what they can scavenge, and try to avoid roving gangs of savage humans who will turn them into slaves or worse. So there you go. It's got a 73% on Rotten Tomatoes. I thought it was pretty fucking awesome. I really enjoyed it. But anyway, so that in that movie, yeah, it's fucking vicious. And there is a point where they come across a bunker that's empty because the person had already died that was in it. And so they're like, oh shit, we found a fucking bunker and it's full of food still. Like, the person died quickly. And so everything he had saved was still there in perfect condition. And him and his son are like pumped that they found this bunker. It lasts literally, I think, like a couple days, because then someone else finds their bunker. And just like you said, they're like, we're just going to fucking take this from these people. Fuck them. We're just going to kill them. I'm not saying they kill him. I'm saying they try to, and I won't give away the end of the movie. But yeah, but it's a dream that people have. Let me have that dream, dude.
The long story short, the book's actually a Bible, but it's in Braille, so it's kind of fucked up.
Like, what was that? What was that called?
Fuck, what was that?
The Book of Eli.
Yeah, Book of Eli. That's right.
Yeah. All right, so I got a couple like things that we can talk about. Well, look, dude, you did see Captain Marvel today, right?
Yep.
Okay. I thought you kept not responding when I asked you about it. I thought you were gonna be like, "Oh yeah, I'm seeing it tomorrow."
No, I saw it today.
Cool. So we can discuss it now, because I saw it yesterday morning, and I'll let you tell what your like initial thoughts are. You don't have to go into detail yet, but like overall, did you like it? Was it all right? Was it crappy? What?
Okay, so I'd put it around the level of the original Thor, Doctor Strange, Ant-Man. It's an average solo movie. I mean, obviously, it was never going to compete with like the Avengers movies or Civil War, any of that kind of stuff.
Right, they're like.
But I mean, it really wasn't supposed to. And I mean, as far as success, I mean, it's doing way better even than they thought it was going to do. Yeah. So I guess the incels failed. Their little fucking campaign fell on its face.
Yeah, it's funny because it's I think it's rated like a 81% critics score on Rotten Tomatoes, but like a 28 audience score currently.
Yeah. So I mean, it wasn't some fucking feminist rallying cry either. It wasn't.
No.
Like they're trying to create controversy where there just isn't. Like.
Yeah, I think because Brie Larson is like a self-described feminist, I guess, and she said some things that hurt some fragile feelings that they wanted to say that the movie was going to be. It's like, she didn't write the fucking movie, guys. She didn't write this movie. You think it's going to reflect her views? Like, I don't know. She's an actress. She's been actually a good amount of other shit that she's gotten critical acclaim for. So she's not. I don't know. It wasn't. Yeah, you're right. It was. All these people were going in with a preconceived notion of what it was going to be. Most of the people voted for one before they even saw it, and that says something right there. It's like you didn't even see it.
It's the same people that also said that Black Panther was going to be fucking black propaganda, but it was nothing. I mean, they made that up.
Yeah,
like there was nothing in there that would have said that. It's fucking stupid.
Fully, and no, it's like, but they'll take anything they can and try to make it this tangible thing. Like Brie Larson said "man" in the movie. And she said it in a nasty way. Did you hear that? I can read. I can read between the lines. You got to read between the lines, people, to know what's going on. This is a anti-male feminism movie. No, not at all. And yeah, like you said with they did the exact same thing with Black Panther, except Black Panther, the kind of good overrid the bad in terms of people voting for it.
Yeah,
because that's still the highest rated film, which is, and let's be real, like that's ridiculous too. Like, for it to be what I think it's like a 98%, better than all of the Avengers films, better than the Iron Man films, Thor Ragnarok. Like, it's not better than them. I'm sorry to say, it's not.
It's the best solo film. I'll give it that for sure.
Maybe. I don't know, dude. Iron Man was really damn good. Like just the first movie that kicked it all off. I think it was really good.
Yeah, I mean, okay, Iron Man was good, but
yeah, and then I don't know. A lot of people give
Captain America was decent. I didn't really like the first Thor movie.
No, it wasn't that great. But I liked the first Captain America. I remember coming out of that movie like, that was fucking awesome. But it's also because I didn't know his story very well. Like, until I saw the movie. I didn't know Captain America's, like, backstory.
Yeah.
So, I found it to be really interesting. But then the second and third Captain Americas were fucking amazing. Amazing.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Yeah, I thought... So what about... You said it's like Ant-Man and the first Thor. Like, so I thought you liked the first Ant-Man a lot.
I did like the first Ant-Man. I'm saying, like, okay, the first Thor, the story I thought was okay. The villain was underwhelming as fuck, and it just... There were some things that just didn't... I don't know, like, I knew what to expect. I like Ant-Man, just, I mean, because of the comedy in it. It's a little change of pace. But all it was supposed to do was introduce you to the character, and you weren't really... It wasn't really about the villain. It was, I mean... And this one had a weird flow to it. Like, it wasn't like the others. Like, the whole time you knew, like, she's just gonna completely overpower fucking everything. And, like, it wasn't like her about them. It was just her about her versus her.
Yeah, like that was probably my only, like, real criticism of it, because the rest of the movie for me was like, it was good. It wasn't fantastic. There was no part of this movie where I was like, wow, that was awesome. But there was also no point where I was like, dude, this is garbage. This is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. Like, there was no point where I was, like, really bored with it, and there was no point where I was overly excited about it. It was just like, this is pretty good. But that was my, like, one thing is, see, actually, for most of the movie, she's pretty vulnerable. Like, it wasn't until the end that she becomes this invulnerable, fucking unbeatable thing. And so, I guess that was fine for me, like, in the end for her to do that. But looking forward is where I see the problem. Like, it seems like she would just wipe her ass with Thanos. Like,
but if you think about it, she's got, like, the juice from the Tesseract, but he's got a fucking handful of those things.
Yeah. See, that's what I was thinking too. Is like, he's got the fucking gauntlet, so he can fuck with time and space, and there's really nothing she can do to combat that, even with all the power that she has.
I'm going to assume that most of the movie they spend trying to avoid the shit out of him until they get their master fucking plan together, because you can't just fight him like as is. Like, it's impossible to win even with her.
Yeah. See, here's what it's going to be, because maybe they could just come in, like, she could just show up and whoop his ass and rip the gauntlet off of him and, like, it just win. But then you're still left with the fact that half of the characters are all dead.
Yeah.
So that's what the movie's got to be about, is like, how do we save these people? Like,
well, we do know that there is a scene that has every fucking character from all the phases in one scene, and it took months to shoot.
We do?
We know that there's that scene. Yes, but fucking Sebastian Stan talked about it years ago.
Damn.
About the preparation and planning. He also said on stage that he's the next Captain America.
Yeah, I know. I know.
That fucker.
I know. Like, well, do you know how many... There's so many things to keep track of if you were an actor in one of these films. Can you imagine trying to keep track of what you can and can't say across 20 movies, like 20-something movies?
My favorite thing is when Ruffalo, like, completely fucking spilled the beans, and Don Cheadle was like, man, are you serious? And, like, look, like, he was so disappointed.
Yeah.
It was in an interview. It was hilarious how he knew he fucked up.
What's the kid's name? What's Spider-Man's name? What's his name?
Oh, Tom Holland.
Tom Holland, yeah. He spills shit all the time. Like, we knew that Spider-Man was called Far From Home, like, a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. So, yeah, I think it'd be ridiculously hard, dude, to keep everything in. To not let anything slip. But they did damn good when it came to, like, Infinity War last year. Like, by putting out some, like, red herrings and stuff, and putting out some fake shit, like images.
I think the trailers are completely fucking false. Like, I bet there's characters in there and taken out, and because if you remember, Hulk was in that fucking Battle of Wakanda.
Yeah, and then he wasn't... Obviously, he couldn't even turn into Hulk by the time that happened, so... I knew this would happen. We're veering off movie, but this is kind of what happens when you're looking ahead to where this all leads. So that's where she wasn't really invulnerable until the end of the movie, which I guess I'm all right with, because that happens a lot in movies where the hero finds some new power at the end, or finds some way to completely obliterate the enemy when before they were weak, and like I don't know. I was okay with that. I just worry about it going forward.
Well, also, if she's powered by the Tesseract and he has the Tesseract, does he fucking have control of her? Can he just nullify all her shit?
That's true. That's another thing we have to think of. Well, hold on. Let's finish talking about the movie, and then we'll try to remember to talk about the Tesseract, because I wanted to say something about it too. Okay, so everyone was saying before this movie came out that Jude Law was going to play the Mar-Vell character. And I think that he, like that kind of teacher role that he had, like that's what Mar-Vell was, I think, in the comics to her.
Mm-hmm.
But in this story, like, he wasn't Mar-Vell. He was just a guy. He was just a Kree guy, and Mar-Vell was that woman.
Yeah.
Like, so it was like...
But pre-amnesia, that was sort of her mentor.
Right. But that's what I'm saying. And I don't know. So, but I don't know. I got the idea that people were saying from the comics, because I haven't read the comics. I have no idea. But what I got from it was that, like, she was trained by Mar-Vell and made like one of them, blah, blah, blah. And that's why everyone was saying Jude Law was Mar-Vell. But anyway, he wasn't. He wasn't the actual character Mar-Vell. One thing I really liked about the movie was that it wasn't just black and white. Like, it switched throughout the movie. That was nice, because it would have gotten boring if Jude Law and the Kree would have just remained good guys the whole movie, and you never found out any twist. Like, God, that would have got boring if they dragged it out for over 2 hours like that.
Yeah, I did like how they had to side with the ugly motherfuckers. Like, that makes it a little harder to accept.
And dude, did you expect comic relief from the Skrulls?
No,
like
that was crazy.
It was funny though. Like, it was kind of funny. I wasn't expecting it.
I mean, and it makes sense. They would know all about the culture that they're trying to emulate, so that would make sense.
Right. I thought it was really fun. Like, because it was so unexpected, I was like, holy shit, these guys are like cracking jokes, dude. So then it's like, once they start cracking the jokes, then you realize they're not so bad, as like a way to let you know that, like, oh, these guys are kind of like normal. And then you find out how fucked up the Kree are. And I don't know if that's how like I said, I don't know if that's how it is in the comic book world, and they switched things up for this, but I'm guessing that they just went with the theme that there's an ongoing war always between the Kree and the Skrull, and, you know, Mar-Vell wanted there to be peace. Actually, I got kind of a lot of Israel and Palestine like symbolism in this movie, like, for sure.
You better not say that, because they definitely sided with Palestine, and that's going to piss off those incels more.
Oh, I know. I guarantee it. I guarantee it's already all over, like, Breitbart and Daily Wire and stuff. Probably. Like, I'm sure that, I'm sure somebody's making that connection, and I'm sure that they did that somewhat purposefully. But that's a little different than, what everyone was expecting was just an anti-male film. It's like, you think we're going to do an anti-male movie? Nope, we're going to throw in some Israel-Palestine fucking... We're going to throw in some anti-Semitism. You want some of this? Like, I don't know. That's what it reminded me of. I'm sure that kind of comes from that. But...
They should have had a third post-credit where it just pops up and she's just sitting there and she turns around and she's like, oh yeah, by the way, men are trash. And then it shuts off.
Dude, I would have rated the movie higher because of that one. Like, just for trolling the trolls. But anyway, that's what I liked. I liked that it wasn't cut and dry, and they didn't just end up fighting the Skrulls in the end and winning. I'm glad that it turned out to be a twist, because that made it a ton more interesting. Before that happened, I was like, you know, kind of getting to the point where I'm like, all right, we can wrap this thing up now. But then they did that. I was like, oh shit, okay, all right, I'll take.
What's the power struggle going to be like between her and Kat and Tony?
Yeah, I don't know, dude. Maybe that's where we'll get the like feminism shit. Maybe that's when they'll sneak it in.
Cat's gonna get yelled at. He's like, "Now you see the Infinity Gauntlet."
Yeah, he's like, "Oh, mansplaining, are you? What decade are you from, sir?"
Oh shit.
But what else? So oh, you were right, motherfucker, about Nick Fury's eye.
Yeah, they remember the fucking wreck. They faked us.
Yeah, but you, like, we were joking around the day before. I was like, how do you think he loses his eye? Or you think they'll reveal it in this? And you're like, I bet they'll, like, not quite reveal it and just, like, hint at it and keep having near misses and stuff. And, but then you said, watch, it'll just be the result of an infection that...
Oh my god, it was a fucking infection.
I know.
A cat thing.
I know, that's all that happened, is that it got infected because an alien cat scratched his eye. So you were right about it being an infection. That's why he lost his eye.
I was just thinking, like, what's the most underwhelming, stupid... But I mean, it wasn't that underwhelming considering that thing is a fucking tentacle beast.
Yeah, I also thought it was funny how scared the Skrull were of the cat. Like, when they kept jumping when the cat was near and stuff. But I knew it was going to turn out to be more than a cat, obviously. But I didn't realize it was going to be a fucking tentacle beast. That was insane.
I like how now we have multiple alien races are exact copies of Earth animals. You know, because we got the fucking raccoon and we got the cats.
Yep, the cats are... And not only is it a cat, it's also a kraken at the same time. Or an octopus. Because it has like 1 million fucking slimy tentacles.
And it has sort of a black hole stomach where it can pull entire bodies into it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because it swallowed the Tesseract. And we'll get back to that in a minute. What was I going to say about... So Nick Fury was... Like, I didn't find Brie Larson that funny in the movie. But I don't see that as a criticism. Like, she was I don't think she had to be the comic relief. People were like, oh, she's so unfunny. She tried and it wasn't funny. It's like, shut the fuck up. Nick Fury was funny enough for everyone in that movie. And then the Skrulls joined in as well. Like, there was plenty of humor in that film.
Yeah. Well, and then they also were talking how she was cold and fucking, kind of sterile. But if you think about it, like, her whole training, like, so she had no memories to pull from, per se.
Yeah.
And then her whole training was to suppress emotion. So I feel like that's probably why her character was like that.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and if you're trying to call this actress, like, emotionless, it's just not gonna fly, dude. Like, she's been in several films, and some of them are critically acclaimed films. Like, she's won awards. I think, have you seen that movie Room that she was in?
No.
Well, I saw a part of it, but Eva watched it, and she really liked it. It's about this fucking woman who's kidnapped, and she is kept in this tiny room for years, and, like, impregnated by her captor, and then made to raise the child in captivity. It's like a true story, I think. And she does, like, raises this kid till the kid's, like, 8 or 10 years old or something, and then finally escapes. But yeah, and that was her character. And... I don't know. She's been. What I'm saying is, she can act. She can she's got the chops for fucking pulling off this film.
And that kid, Emilio Estevez.
Yeah. 6 degrees of separation. What about that Stan Lee cameo?
Yeah, that was a good one.
Did you watch?
The whole Mallrats connection, how he was actually just doing the script for his Mallrats.
Yeah. It was a cameo within a cameo. He was practicing his lines for a cameo, and that was his cameo. And
but this is the first time he was actual Stan Lee.
Yeah, he was actually Stan Lee, and he was. What I thought was cool is that this wouldn't have worked in any other movie. Like, I'm so glad that someone caught it, thought of the idea to do that. They're like, all right, what would Stan Lee be doing in the 90s? And there's a ton of stuff Stan Lee would be doing in the 90s. He was doing cameos in Marvel films in the 90s. Like, you can look back and see that on YouTube. Like, he did cameos. It could have been any other thing, but they're like, what's the most 90s shit we can think of? Oh, Kevin Smith films. He was in a fucking Kevin Smith movie. Like, that'll be the cameo that he's preparing for. Like, I don't know. I thought it was perfect. It wasn't just a cameo. It actually fit within the period in this, like, period piece film.
Yeah. Dude, I felt so old because I've worked at both Blockbuster and Radio Shack.
Oh, yeah. That's right. You worked. You were on the tail end of that, though, right? Like Blockbuster, they were kind of going down, right?
Yeah, I worked at Blockbuster in 05, so that was like the last breath, really.
Did I? Oh yeah, I sent you that article, didn't I, about the last standing Blockbuster on Earth?
Yeah.
It's like out in Oregon. I wonder if that'll just stay open, like forever, as like a nostalgic thing. Maybe.
And eventually you can't even rent videos, you just have to buy them and then they'll restock. It's just a video store.
Yeah, or maybe they just turn it into a museum. They just turn it into a fucking 90s culture museum where you just go in and look at what it used to be like to go rent hard copies of films.
You just take your phone in and scan a QR code and then you can cast it to your screen when you get home.
Yeah, there's QR codes on the back of all the boxes that they have. That'd actually be pretty cool. That'd be a pretty cool idea. Couldn't have one in every city, that would be dumb, but to have one as like a little homage, that'd be cool. So yeah, post-credit scenes were... The first one was where we actually got to see the Avengers and her meeting the Avengers, so that was pretty cool. And the other one was, I think, kind of pointless, really. It was just the cat now coughing up the Tesseract, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know why that was a necessary...
The Tesseract has been in more movies than some of the heroes.
Yeah.
Tesseract's been in more movies than Hawkeye.
So were they just trying to remind us that the cat still had it? Like, I don't understand. Like, it just happened at the end of the movie, so I don't know why it was necessary, but...
Well, it was sort of like the same thing. Remember Thor, The Dark World? The second post-credit was like that monster was still running around. Like, it doesn't fucking matter, but it's like a little funny, stupid thing.
Yeah, I noticed that. Like, usually the first post-credits is relevant, and then the second one is just something silly to laugh at. Like, just like, even in Into the Spider-Verse, like, their post-credits was just something retarded.
Oh, the meme thing?
Yeah, I thought that was great.
Yeah.
So that was Captain Marvel. I put it at a 7.5 to an 8 movie. It's not up there it's definitely not in my top 5, but I don't think it's my bottom 5 either. Like, you put it with the first Thor, I don't know, first Thor, and was alright, I guess, like, but this movie's definitely better than Dark World. It's definitely better than, I don't know. I like The Incredible Hulk, but it's not up there in my top 5. So it's in the middle. This movie falls in the middle somewhere. It's not bottom of the barrel, but it's definitely not up there with like Civil War and Infinity War and stuff like that. Ragnarok.
It's a good primer. We have 1 month. Next month is like the most exciting month for fucking TV stuff.
Is Game of Thrones next month?
Yes, the 14th.
And that runs how many episodes? 8 or 7?
No. 6.
6?
6.
What the fuck? I thought it was going to be 8.
6 episodes to tie up all those fucking loose ends.
Jesus Christ. But they're going to be like hour and a half episodes, right?
No, some of them are like an hour and 20.
Aww.
I mean, I think like 2 of them might be an hour and 20 or an hour and 15. Like, they're seriously not that much longer either.
Okay, so we'll say, say they were an hour and a half. And there's 6 episodes. So that's what, 9 hours? 9 hours to tie everything up?
Yeah.
I mean, we watch movies that are much shorter, tie shit up. So,
but you don't have that many characters fleshed out and like all the expectations and shit. Like, there's a lot built into this. And I think the only way they're getting away with this is the fact is that they don't have to tie up all the ends, because I think the fucking Night King wins. There's no happy endings. Is
that what you think?
I really believe the Night King wins because It just feels like that fucking Nicolas Cage movie. Remember what? Was it Nicolas Cage? I'm thinking it was, but remember it got down to everyone else.
No. What?
Okay, it was like someone went crazy and they wrote down all these dates, and he realized dates were natural disasters, and at the end was EE. I feel like we're getting down to the EE.
Oh yeah, everyone else. That I thought that was so ridiculous. I remember thinking that, like, are you serious? That's what it stands for? Everyone else.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you just think it's just the whole world ends. That's what it is, or maybe like a reset, maybe.
No, I think the final scene is the fucking Night King sitting on the throne and it icing over.
So that's it. That's the end of the world.
No, there's probably still people over in Essos, but I think Westeros is lost, and that's the end of the fucking thing.
Yes, I guess I'm just not deep enough into the lore to know there was anything besides Westeros. So I didn't even realize, I don't think, that there was more to this world than what we've seen.
But that's what's across the sea. It's like the fucking desert places and all that.
So is that what we're gonna see in like some of these other side projects that are based on?
The only spinoff that's confirmed takes place thousands of years before this.
Right. You almost don't even need to make that a spinoff. You're just saying that it has some common themes. I mean,
well, I'm sure that you're going to have the tree people and people that warg, and magic was more prevalent. I guess the Valyria would be going on, and fucking there's dragons and shit. Wouldn't
you still have the Night King and stuff?
Well, they made the Night King back then, so maybe that one ends with the Night King's beginning. I don't know.
Right. Huh. Well, yeah, I'm excited for that. That's what date?
14th.
The 14th, and then Endgame is like the 26th or 7th?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it'll be a good month. What were we going to say about the Tesseract? What were we talking about the Tesseract? Oh, yeah.
It's in every movie somehow.
Yeah. Well, you were talking about how, like, how's that going to work if Thanos has the Tesseract, like, and she gets her power from it. I feel like she's going to have the Tesseract from the past, so maybe it can override it somehow? Or maybe...
Well, if you think about this, he completely overpowered Wanda, and she's basically the Power Stone.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess he's just...
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's not like he only controls a Tesseract. He's got the entire gauntlet, like, full, so... He has basically every power imaginable at this point.
Yeah, and think about it, he beat Wanda before he had the Mind Stone.
Yeah, he didn't even need the full gauntlet. So, yeah, I don't think we're running into anything with that. With the fact that she has the one from... Okay, here's another thing. Does she come from the past, or does she come from just wherever else she was off doing stuff?
Oh, you mean in the post-credit? Is that her from 95?
Yeah.
Just her okay, no. I don't think there's any time travel required.
No.
I feel like the fact you could write off the fact that she hasn't aged to, I don't know, the power of the shit that's going through her veins. Maybe Kree aged differently. She has Kree blood now.
Yeah.
Or you could also say that time is relative in far-off places, so who the fuck knows how she aged.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, she literally could have been gone like a week in her time.
Yeah.
And in our time, it'd be, 30 years. So, yeah, I could see that. There's a million explanations to why she looks exactly the same, 20, 30 years later, 20, 25 years later. So yeah, probably won't run into anything with that. Alright, well cool, we're at 35 minutes, so we can do our top 5, which in honor of the fucking girl power, fucking chick shit, we're gonna do top 5 fictional females. And this is across anything. Like, you want to do, like, action movies, you want to do TV series, you want to do, like, comic books, whatever kind of, like, it doesn't even have to be like a hero type character. It can be any female that you enjoyed watching on screen or reading about or whatever.
Yeah.
So how do you want to do this? Do you want to go first?
I'll go first.
Okay. All right.
So my number 5 is my favorite Disney princess.
Shut up.
That is Shuri.
Oh, Shuri. Favorite Disney princess. Okay.
Yeah.
So
she's better than fucking Stark and Banner, and she makes fun of them for being old. It's just hilarious.
She's in terms of
tech like,
smarts.
She's got the better shit. She's making better inventions. It's just fucking nuts.
Yeah, I agree. I'm a piece of shit for not even thinking about her. God damn me. Am I like? She's female and a minority, and I didn't even fucking. She didn't register on my radar. I'm a son of a bitch. I'm a son of a bitch.
Society, look what you've done,
dude. Yeah, it's not my fault. It's the fucking comic book culture.
Oh man.
Damn it. Well, I feel bad because now watch. I don't even know. I have to relook at my list, but I was like, I bet you there's no fucking culture on my list at all. It's a bunch of white bread, skinny white girls.
But if you go out of your way, you're just forcing it. So fuck it.
I got a bunch of
thinking about.
I got a bunch of fucking Aryans on my list, and it's just that's all I got. All right, what's your number 4?
Number 4 is is my last comic book one is Jean Grey. Just because, even though that movie's gonna be fucking trash, I can feel it.
Yeah, it is gonna be trash.
I mean, one day we will get a good Dark Phoenix movie, and it's not gonna be this next one. I just feel like it's a pretty cool fucking storyline.
Yeah, I believe it's one of the most popular storylines in all of fucking comic history, and I feel like that's gonna have to be a big build up like we've done with Infinity War. Like they're gonna have a slow burn for that one. Like it's gonna be several movies building up to it. She's gonna become the Phoenix, and then it's gonna develop into the Dark Phoenix storyline. I feel like that's gonna happen. Like she's gonna start off kind of like Marvel Girl, Jean Grey, and then become the Phoenix, but be good and be this all powerful Phoenix, but then go and become Dark Phoenix over time, over probably 10 movies or something.
Yeah, and I can't wait to get the other villains and shit. We need Mr. Sinister. We need the fucking shit we haven't seen yet.
Yeah, I was thinking about that the other day. Mr. Sinister.
Well, dude, I want Omega Red. I want a Wolverine movie with Omega Red.
I do too, badly. I was thinking about that the other day. Omega Red and Mr. Sinister are two characters we've not seen any fucking glimmer of, and I think they'd be done perfectly by the fucking Mouse House. I think they're gonna pull off Sinister so well. Like, you watch how they craft the villains that we have now in the MCU. I think they could pull off some great villains. And if anybody can make the X-Men, as cheesy of an idea as it is nowadays, like these teams of matching people who come together, like, I don't know, man. I have faith in Marvel Studios and Disney to do it. Because I never thought the Avengers wouldn't be cheesy. And to me, it's not really cheesy at all. Maybe the first one a little bit. Just because it's just the first time you're seeing it, it's like, okay, yep, they're all together, and they banter and joke with each other, and but it turned out so fucking well, and like you can take the story pretty damn seriously. Like you get pretty emotionally invested in these characters, and I would love to see that happen with X-Men.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really good.
But I agree, this Jean movie looks like this Dark Phoenix looks like trash. It looks like possibly the worst X-Men movie yet. And
well, at least it's coming to an end, man. At least it's over.
I know. I feel bad. Like
we're losing a good Magneto and a good Professor X.
Yeah, I feel bad.
You know what?
Like I kind of feel bad that I might it's the final one, and I might just wait to see it on DVD. Unfortunately, because I really feel it's going to be really bad. Like, usually when I see a trailer, and even by the trailer, which is supposed to be like the best, the things to draw you in, if the trailer is making you go, this is trash, it's probably not going to be very good.
Well, plus you also know that everything is going to be rebooted and changed, so it's like there's no stakes either.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree, though, 100%. Like, the actual character of Jean Grey should be on a top 5, and I considered her for mine, but I didn't put her on, so I'm glad that you brought it up.
Alright, so my number 3 is Carol from The Walking Dead.
Oh, shit, okay.
Yeah, her character arc is fucking nuts. She was like an abused wife and a complete bitch at first, and then now she's like the scariest person on the show.
Dude, you want to talk about fucking girl power? Fucking female empowerment. Like, that's fucking Carol, dude.
Alright, that's about all I gotta say about Carol. She's just a scary motherfucker.
She's a scary motherfucker, that Carol.
But, alright, so number 2, fictional female, is Bruce Jenner. Not an actual female. Fucking won an award with a dick hanging. That takes balls.
Shut up, dude. Oh my god.
Fictional female, I'm sorry.
Wait, you didn't... This is seriously your number 2?
That's my serious number
2. Okay, alright.
Okay, and here's how I'm going to justify this.
Because she's...
I can talk shit about this person because they're a piece of shit for many reasons.
Okay, let's hear those reasons. Can you do a top 5 of the reasons Bruce Jenner is a piece of shit? Hey, and you know you're not allowed to do that, right? You're not allowed to do, what's it called?
You're talking about dead naming?
Dead naming, yeah, that's right. There's a term.
Well, a rich old person shouldn't be allowed to get fucking DUIs and hit people and fucking just be an ultra piece of shit and act like some kind of victim when you're rich.
Yeah.
You're fucking rich.
Right.
Like, you're not brave, you're just fucking rich and insulated.
Right, and then once you become a woman, then what?
Yeah.
You're a fantastic person now?
Like, Bruce Jenner, you're not fucking brave. The person that's brave, someone that does that in Mississippi when they're dirt fucking poor. You doing that in California as a celebrity that's fucking rich, that is not brave.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Truth, man. Speaking of, so wait, so that's your reasoning for being able to hate that?
Yeah, there's a whole fucking list of being able to hate, so I don't even have to obey the rules with this one.
Right. So because Bruce Jenner all around is a piece of shit, so it's fine.
Yeah, I feel like that makes sense. So that's fair.
I like your twist, man. I like that. I like that you took fictional female literally. It's fantastic.
All right, and so my number 1 fictional female is Jesus' mother, Mary.
So you're just trying to go comedic on these last 2. I get it.
No, this is real.
I get it. Okay, yeah, I know it's real, but go ahead.
It's okay.
Because she's a fictional. Because your last 2, the points of the last 2 are that they're not real. I get it.
Sort of. So I can even go as far to say as there was someone named Mary, and then the story took hold and got traction. At which point that would make this a real person, but the reason she's a fake-ass bitch is because it's so easily explained. I mean, God didn't rape you. Basically, you fucked somebody and didn't want to own up to it. So,
yeah. But I mean, how many... Do you think she was the first person to ever think, like, I'll just fucking say it's God's baby?
No, but I feel like after the fact, she's like, man, this really fucking took on a life of its own. Dude, that was a close one.
This really worked out pretty well until, like, 30 some odd years later. That she's like, fuck. Man.
Yeah.
Oh, man, dude.
It's like, what reason would she have had to lie?
God damn it, Justin.
Every reason.
God damn you for taking my words literally and making a list of people that are fictional, not real, instead of choosing characters. But I get it.
I get some characters on there.
I know. It was funny though, because I mean, it probably would have been boring had you not had those last 2. So kudos, good job on. You made me laugh. So, and anything else about Mary before we switch over?
Nah, she did her thing. Whatever.
So wait a minute. What I was saying about her is, Do you think anyone ever tried that before she did it? Or do you think she, like, was she the first?
It was just the right time and place, because if someone says that they're talking to God or anything now, you just fucking lock them up because it's crazy. Like, it just had to be the right time, the right moment, be surrounded by the right fucking idiots to start gaining traction.
Do you?
I don't know. She just got really lucky.
Well, look, there was like a prophecy, supposedly, and so the king was searching for all males born around a certain time. So maybe the word got around about the prophecy, and she was like, oh shit, I know what I could do. I could just say, that's what this is. That's what's going on here.
Yeah.
Like,
and I'm sure the prophecy, I'm sure it's the same prophecy that fucking pops up over and over. It's the same story of Horus. It's the same goddamn shit.
Yeah. Well, the Christian story is like the exact same as every other fucking story. Like, it is. It's a repeated story throughout many fucking religions, and it is. But it's literally the same story.
The adoration of the sun, like the actual sun.
Yeah, and it's literally the same every time. That's what I'm saying. Like, the names change to protect the innocent, but it's the exact same story over and over. So
you think in like the year 5000, if they're still humans, they're like, no, we worship the one true God, John Doe.
Yeah, they might. They might. They'd be like, Jason Pernicki. That's our savior. All right, here we go. Let me pull my list up here so I can get mine. God, man, see, you always make my list look like shit because it's all funny, and fucking mine's just like plain. All right.
Rattle off these white people.
Okay. All right. Starting off with the most fucking Aryan of them all, Daenerys Targaryen. I couldn't have picked a more white person if I tried.
Oh, Jesus.
I told you, this list is straight Nazis, dude.
No, dude, she's a breaker of chains.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, her character's fucking awesome, dude. Like, no matter what ends up happening, it was a cool, really cool storyline. Like, really cool fucking story to follow. Just knowing, like, she was basically sold into marriage, to this supposedly, brutal, what do you call them? Barbarian tribe. Yeah. Like, warring barbarian tribe of warriors. And, ends up becoming the leader of that group of vicious males. And then, goddamn, goes on to forge a fucking empire and free all these slaves. Like, it was just such an incredible story, dude. Like, it was an amazing story. And she's also, like, one of the most attractive people I've ever seen in my life. So that's part of it, I'm sure, the reason why she made my list. But partly, like a little bit of it, has something to do with the fact that it is a good story. So, yeah. Daenerys.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Yep, she's my number 5. All right, number 4 has got to be the mother of the Resistance, Sarah Connor. Sarah Connor is a tough-ass bitch, and she started off as just some fucking, like, ditzy valley girl in the first Terminator movie. Well, sort of. She wasn't really ditzy, but she was a nobody, and her friend was ditzy, and she was, a typical girl, right? Typical girl in California or whatever. And, just her life got fucking flipped upside down, and somebody told her, like, she's the mother of the most important man in the future. And goddamn, she switched to a badass really quick. Like, that Terminator, like, she ended up crushing him in the end of the movie. And then from then on, she just became this fucking badass. Just like, her entire life was devoted to training herself and then training her son to be the leader of a resistance against fucking robots. Like, she's tougher than John Connor, in my opinion. Like, she's the fucking person who trained him. So, Sarah Connor is my number 4. Did you ever watch that Sarah Connor Chronicles?
No.
I didn't either. I mean, like, to me, Linda Hamilton is Sarah Connor, and they've tried to have other people be Sarah Connor, like in that Terminator Genesis movie. Yeah. I wasn't big on that, but supposedly they're making another one with Linda Hamilton. So
well, I'm really glad that now that they have the technology to roll back the clock on actors. So, I mean, because we had young Samuel L. Jackson in that movie.
Yeah, and please,
worked perfectly.
Dude, I hope to God. That was another thing I forgot to mention about the fucking de-aging. Like, that movie was the first time we saw it happen for an entire movie. Like,
Dude, you know, I was thinking about the whole time. The whole time I was watching it, I was like, we don't have to lose Jackman. We can keep fucking Jackman.
Yeah, it's true. We can keep Jackman forever. Although, I'm pretty sure it costs a lot of fucking movie to, like, do de-aging for the entire film like that.
Yeah.
They probably want to do it every single film, especially in, like, Avengers films that probably they're paying the actors, like, $30 to $50 million a piece to do it already.
Yeah, but if you're going to make $1 billion a film, you can spend a little bit.
Honestly, I'm good with losing Jackman. Like, just because, I mean, because if you really think about it, like, somebody else is going to embody him, and they're going to do, I think somebody's going to do great. Even if the next iteration isn't perfect, at some point we're going to get a badass Wolverine, and maybe a guy who actually fits, like, the build, and, like, the hairiness, and, I don't know, because, like, Wolverine's, what, 5'2", and Hugh Jackman's is, like, 6'2".
Yeah.
He was a really tall Wolverine. They did pretty good at making him not seem tall. Like, he didn't seem really big or anything. But it's definitely improvements they could make in choosing somebody to embody the real Wolverine. So I don't know. I'm trying to be hopeful. Damn it. Trying. Okay, back to the list. Number 3 is, have you ever seen Battlestar Galactica?
Not really.
No? Okay. Well, I was, like, hesitant about watching it because it was a fucking sci-fi show. And, like, most of those shows that are on Sci-Fi Channel, you can just kind of expect, like, B acting, silly graphics and effects. Like, you know, they just don't have big budgets, and the actors are usually a little lower budget actors. Well, this show is, it's been touted as, like, one of the greatest sci-fi series of all time. Like, people love this thing. And I've been putting off watching it for several years. Because, like, people kept saying, like, dude, you ever seen that? You gotta watch fucking Battlestar Galactica. If you like sci-fi shit, you're gonna love Battlestar Galactica. If you like, stuff about AI and fucking fighting robots, like, you gotta watch Battlestar Galactica. So I finally gave it a shot. And I'm now in season 2 of 4 seasons. And I'm pretty sure it you could watch it, because I don't think it got canceled. Like, it was a full, they finished it out and, like, tied up all the ends and stuff. Anyway, one of my favorite characters on this show is a fictional female. This fictional female, her name is Starbuck. Starbuck, like the coffee house. But she's just this badass, like, normally in movies or shows, I don't really like the girl who's, like, one of the guys, you know, like, whenever they have a chick try to be like the boys in a movie, where she, like, she's the only girl, and so she acts like the guys. She's, like, a tough badass and shit. Like, it usually seems like they're trying to oversell it, and it seems like, okay, give me a break, dude. This chick's, she's not tough, alright? She's not she wouldn't kick that dude's ass. I'm sorry, but she just wouldn't. She doesn't have the bone density to kick his ass. It wouldn't happen. But this chick is a legit badass. Like, it's the first time, really, I've ever bought a woman who could, besides, like, UFC fighters, maybe, that could, like, beat dudes' asses. And that you don't have a problem with her being, like, this rough, tough chick. She's just a badass. She hangs with the guys. She's, like, more enjoyable to watch than she's a pilot, and she's more enjoyable to watch than like the male pilots that are on this show. She's definitely, if not my favorite, definitely one of my favorite characters. But the show is full of great actors. Like it's a fantastic show. So this was another way for me to bring up that you need to watch Battlestar Galactica. It's only 4 seasons, and it's I think the first season has 13 episodes. The second season has 20, I think, and I think the next couple have 20. But it's fantastic series, and it's about humans create. Actually, it's not humans. That's what makes it great. They're humans, but they're from a different world, and Earth is like this prophecy. Earth is like a what do you call it? Like a story, like a legend, right? Like a
yeah, like a fable.
Yeah. So Earth is like this, kind of like what we consider like the Bible.
So it's like Earth is their Atlantis, like some fucking...
Yeah. Like, they talk about Earth, but it's like this thing like... the story is that these clans all were on this one planet called, like, Kolor or something like that. I can't remember exactly. But they... eventually, these tribes, they all leave the planet and go to, like, in separate directions and seek out other worlds to inhabit. And then this is just backstory. Like, that's when we're in this show, we're in the present day, but this is stuff that happened thousands of years before. Thousands of years before, they were all on one planet. They scattered and all moved to different planets, 12 different planets. So humans inhabit 12 different planets. And there's this prophecy that there is this place also called Earth. That's no one that's alive now has ever been there or knows where it's at or anything. So everyone just assumes it's like a fable. It's not real. But all the people, they basically evolved like us. And so you can imagine, like when you start the series, you just assume they're on Earth. And that's what's going on. They create artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence damn near wipes out the human race. And then something happens to where they reach like an armistice or like a ceasefire, and they agree for the Cylons, which is the technological creatures, the robots, to go and live on a planet all by themselves, and the humans wouldn't bother them, and they wouldn't bother the humans. And then like 50 years later, for some reason, the Cylons develop themselves enough to create human-looking fucking entities. And then they decide they want to wipe out the real humans. Finally, and be the only race. So it's pretty good. And a lot of these Cylons that look like humans, like they don't even know. They're so much like humans that they don't even know that they are Cylons. So they're like raised to, like, in their head they have memories and everything. They believe that they're human. Kind of like Terminator Salvation, where that dude doesn't know he's one of the fucking robots. Anyway, all that to say that I really like Starbuck. She's one of my favorite characters. She's a fucking badass, and she's my number 3. Number 2 is Ripley from Alien. And I couldn't really help it that most of my list is pretty much action people. But, what can't you say, like, about Ripley? Like, the first and second Aliens movie, especially, and then the third film when she's like impregnated by an alien. Then what was the fourth one where they they have a clone of her or something?
Yeah, I think there's a clone.
But God, what a badass fucking character! Like, she's another one that they put like as a character amongst a bunch of males, where she was expected to pull her own weight, and then she ends up doing so. Like, she becomes, like, even more badass than her male counterparts. And she's just fucking badass. So, Ripley from Aliens. From the Alien films.
I agree with that,
Yeah. My number 1, probably, all-time favorite fictional female, is the Bride, a.k.a. Black Mamba, a.k.a. Beatrix Kiddo from Kill Bill. I've never enjoyed a story more than, like, her fucking revenge story. Like, that was one of the most badass, like, I meant female. For a female, I guess. Like, I've seen a ton of female action films, and none of them have me invested like that. And it might just be because it's Quentin Tarantino, but also like Uma Thurman, and I thought that character was fucking so badass, and I loved the narration throughout it. Loved how the movie was put together, and I just loved the story of how she fucking hunts down the people that tried to kill her, and like one by one takes them out in like different fashion. Like she takes each one out in a different fucking way, and I love that, like, all the training she went through and shit. When it went back and it showed her being trained, well, it shows her training in that temple with that dude. Yeah. And, like, that was some of my favorites, even though I think I like Kill Bill Volume 1 better. Volume 2, those training sequences, like that part where she was, like, living with that dude in that temple in the middle of nowhere, that was one of my favorite parts of it all. It's her, like, learning, and they have to show that so she knows how to bust out of the fucking coffin that she's buried in underground.
Yeah, but that was pretty good.
Yeah, dude, she's just a badass. Like, I talked about fucking Starbuck being this badass. Like, the Bride was the ultimate badass because...
Yeah. I'm sure Starbuck could hit a fucking 5-point exploding heart technique.
Exactly, dude. Like, she was this all-around, all-encompassing fucking... She killed... Like, all the people she had to hunt down were assassins by trade. Like, it wasn't like she just hunted down some mean people, or like the Punisher, like she's just shooting up a bunch of small baddies. Like, she was hunting down the most vicious people on the planet and killing them one by one. And doing it fairly, too. Like, for the most part. Most of them she killed straight up. Like, she just fought them one-on-one, so... Or...
The worst one was when she did the eye pluck of the only remaining good eye.
Oh, that was fantastic, though.
And let her bleed out in the fucking trailer. That was crazy.
Yeah, and that was a perfect finish, too, to the... It was a perfect tie-in with the story of the guy who trained her, because that's what happened to that chick's eye. Was her... mentor, her master, plucked her other eye out. So that finishes that story that I love so much. So yeah, it was fucking badass. And I said she fought them all one by one or one-on-one, but actually when she went for Oren Ishii, she had fought the fucking crazy 88 first.
Yeah, that was... God, it was so bloody. I loved how fucking over the top it was. And I love the fact that, like, that exists within, like, it's a movie within that movie universe, and that's why it's so over the top.
Yeah.
I love that whole fucking thing.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Like, the whole... Like, each story had a different theme. That's what was so great about it. Like, for one, both movies were different. Like, the first one was very steeped in, like, martial arts, classic martial arts films, and like samurai films and stuff like that, and anime. And then the second film was all like spaghetti western, and it all took place out west in the desert, and like these shitty little strip clubs, and the dude lives in an old trailer in the middle of nowhere. Like, it was... I loved like all of that movie, or all of both of those films, and yeah, it was just fun to watch her go into all these different modes in all these different places. So yeah, to me, she's the ultimate badass. The Bride is my number one. And that's it. That's my top 5.
Alrighty, we're sitting at an hour and a half.
Yeah, well, we lost the first 20 minutes. we're at an hour and 4 minutes according to this recording, so...
Oh, yeah, that's true.
That's true. But it's alright. That's alright. Next time we'll know not to try new things.
Yep. That's how you make progress.
Yeah, I think so. I think the recording. I think the recording will sound good though, and hopefully we're gonna start doing these a little more regularly. And like I said, hopefully they're gonna be on. We're gonna be on more platforms. And if you're hearing this on any other platform, be sure to rate the podcast, because I guess that's the best way to get more people to see it. Is if it has ratings, you can like favorite it or give it 5 stars, whatever. Write a review of it. Even if you hate it, just fucking say that you hate it. Say it's a piece of trash. And, then we'll read it and we'll feel bad about ourselves. And then you'll feel good that you've done that to us. So, rate it, please, if you find it, wherever you find it, whether it's like Google or Stitcher or...
if you're checking it out on MySpace for some reason.
Yeah, if you're watching this on if you're watching it, I don't know how you're watching it, but if you're watching this on MySpace, then please give us a thumbs up. Put us in your top 8, and maybe play us on your what's it called? Profile music. Yeah, you can put us on the profile music.
Oh God.
So yeah, there's that. Do that. Help us, please, reach more people. You can share it with other people. And maybe one of these days I'll set up a Patreon. And then I'll set up a Patreon so that we don't have to spend our own money on doing the podcast. That would be fantastic. If, people wanted to contribute and keep us doing this, because honestly, our wives aren't going to let us do it forever. I mean, it's just a fact of the matter. Like, it costs money to run a successful podcast, and it costs even more money to run a non-successful podcast. And I don't want to find that out. Like, I don't want to, be that guy whose family has to live on the street, all because I had to have my stupid podcast. So if you guys, if we get a Patreon up, and if you guys want to contribute to that, it'd be fantastic, because we could, we could buy equipment for this thing, and my family wouldn't have to live in the street. So,
I don't want it to be 20 years from now, and I'm like, yeah, you ever suck dick for podcasts?
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like that would be us, like with no family left, no one to call a friend besides each other, and but also still kind of having that like weird animosity towards each other, because it's like I feel kind of weird about the fact that you were part of the reason I don't have a family anymore, and then like you feel that way about me, and it's like it's this love-hate thing where it's like we're all each other has, but we can't stand to be around each other, and it probably doesn't make for a good podcast, and I don't know.
It can get dark. It can get real dark.
Yeah. So if you guys want to save Justin and I's friendship, contribute. If you contribute, we can remain friends, and we won't have to lose our families. So thank you for listening. We'll see you next time. You'll hear us next time. And see you next time. Thanks. Okay, we're recording again now. We just recorded like fucking 12 minutes of a podcast, and then for some reason it decided it was going to crap out, and we lost our recording. So that's gone forever, and now we have to start over. Sadly, I had told a whole story about going to a comic book store that was a piece of shit, and the owner was an asshole, and the comics were overpriced, and blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to go into the whole thing, but I was in a really pissed off mood today because I went to buy some comics because they were having a quote-unquote sale. I went there, and it was the worst sale I've ever seen in my life, and the owner was a dick, and they had a really shitty selection. They were selling like Wolverine number 83 for like $8 and giving you the crazy discount of 50% off. So it's $4 for a $19.90.